What's going on, guys? We're back with another episode of the Rivals Podcast. It is day 3 of the Rivals Podcast, and we're going to get straight into it with the Mets. They did not play yesterday along with the Yankees, but they did come out with a big weekend. They took the series 2 out of 3 from Tampa Bay, and they ended up sweeping the Cleveland Guardians. So now they are on a 5-game winning streak and are only 4.5 games behind the Atlanta Braves for first place in the NL East. Big news for them. They're starting to come around. Each of their 5 wins came by only 1 run, but that's good enough to keep them winning, and that's the main thing right now for them. One major thing with the Mets is their catcher situation. We have Francisco Alvarez, who was brought up, and he's been playing great. His bat has been great. His defense has been a lot better than expected, and this has been a huge boost to the Mets offense. But the issue with this is that the Mets also have 3 other catchers who can be on the Major League roster. They have Gary Sanchez, who's currently on the roster, Tomas Nido, who's on the IL and rehabbing right now, and Omar Narvaez.
Gary Sanchez, as you may know, he played for the New York Yankees. He was the catcher, obviously, and he hit home runs. He did good, but that was years ago, so...
Yeah, he's 30 years old now, so it's a little bit different than his prime with the Yankees, but he might still have that bat that can help the Mets. So what I think should happen with this situation, first off, Tomas Nido cannot be on the Major League roster, and even though we signed him to a 1-year deal, I think the Mets have to step away, either keeping him in the minor leagues if they have options for him, or DFAing him, because he cannot be on this Major League roster if we want to keep winning. Now, with Omar Narvaez coming back, he should definitely get the backup catcher role behind Francisco Alvarez. And Gary Sanchez, he's in a little bit of a weird spot because we just brought him on a minor league contract, and we don't really know. He hasn't been great the last couple years. So if he can prove himself in the major leagues, he'll make a case to stay on the Major League roster, but we cannot guarantee that. So I think it should come down to Alvarez has to stay up here. Even though people talk about options and him being brought down, Alvarez has to stay up. Narvaez needs to be up. And then if Gary Sanchez can stay around for a little bit longer because of his bat, we can have him as a DH.
Moving on to the New York Yankees, although they didn't play yesterday, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They sweep the Reds. And just to mention, they've had a pretty good May so far. They're 14-6 in the month of May. And I gotta say, great things are coming to them. I mean, they started off a little iffy. They have the hardest division by far. The Rays being the best team in the league. Then they got the Blue Jays, the Red Sox. All of them have winning records. So it's definitely a challenge for them this year, but they're doing pretty well right now. 3rd in the division.
Seems like the Mets and Yankees are both coming alive with sluggish starts to their season. They're starting to come around, starting to win games, and hopefully we'll have another rise of New York baseball.
Ooh, news!
Alright, big breaking news that came out yesterday. It might be a little bit old for you guys, but Carmelo Anthony has officially announced his retirement. He hasn't really played for the last couple years, but now he's officially retired. He probably should have done this a couple years ago, but that is it. He had a great legacy with the New York Knicks and hopped around a couple other teams after that. The Heat ended up beating the Celtics 2 nights ago, 128-102. So Miami leads that series 3-0. That was a complete blowout. Boston's really looking bad, and they had a lot of good teams in the regular season across basketball and hockey, and for some reason they're not able to finish it in the playoffs. We'll see what happens, but that series is currently 3-0 to Miami. In the Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets beat the Lakers to complete the sweep. They won 113-111, and they advanced to the finals for the first time in their franchise history. So LeBron James cannot win another title and falls down with the Lakers.
Following their loss against the Denver Nuggets, there have been reports that LeBron James will be retiring from the NBA. I think this is false. This can't happen. I don't know. He said he wanted to play with his son in the NBA, and I just think it's a long shot that he's going to be retiring after this year. It doesn't make too much sense for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's said multiple times how much he's wanted to play with his son, and that whatever team his son gets drafted by, he'll go there to play his final year. So even though there are rumors circulating, I think these rumors are just like any other rumors that just come about. They don't really have any foundation under them.
People like to make things up for shock value, and
yes, and that's very possible. So I do not think it is. I guess it is possible, but I really think he's staying true to his word, and he wants to play with his son for his final year.
Some other news in the UFC: McGregor Forever, the Netflix documentary, was released 6 days ago, and I just gotta say, I think out of all the UFC fighters, McGregor deserved this one the most. He is like the most iconic Ultimate Fighter, in my opinion. He's had a 22-6 record. He is the first fighter ever to be a double champ, and the first to ever hold a belt in two weight classes, the featherweight and the lightweight. He is 34, so he hasn't officially announced any retiring. He's still kind of young, but he has not fought in 2 years, I think. So who knows? Maybe he'll come back. Maybe he isn't.
Prospect report. Woo! Yay! All right, for the Mets in AAA, Ronnie Mauricio, like we've been reporting every single time, has been doing great. He was the first minor league player to hit 60 hits on the season, and he has a crazy amount of extra base hits. He's been hitting the ball very, very hard, and he continues to make a case for him to be moved up to the major leagues. If the Mets end up doing that, I could definitely see a configuration where McNeil moves to the outfield, specifically left field, and Mauricio slides into second.
Over the weekend, although he, just like the Yankees, did not play yesterday, Jason Dominguez, top Yankees prospect, went 0 for 3 on Saturday and 1 for 5 on Friday. Not the best performances he's had. His average now sits at 239. So yeah, he has been struggling in the month of May, but I hope he gets back on track and becomes MLB bound in the upcoming years.
Guess what, everyone? The jar is back.
Random New York
player. New York.
Random
player of the day.
Random New York player of the day.
Boom. All right, we've got the jar. We're picking the random player. This is gonna be my first pick. I am very honored. You gave me the honor. Let's see. You want to read that? So Dick Lynch is the random New York player of the day. We're going to look at his stats, see what team he played for, and see if he was a good player.
He played for the New York Giants from 1959 to 1966. He was a defensive back. He led the league in interceptions in 1961 and 1963, so 2 years. Was a one-time Pro Bowler in 1963, and just some regular like playing stats for his games. He played 109 games. And in that time, he had 37 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. So unlike these other guys, just want to note, he actually had a somewhat good career. Like, these other guys usually played for like 3-4 years, and they haven't had much experience in the league, and they weren't really well known. But it seems like this guy actually had a respectable career, and he was good at football. So...
yeah, it seems like his specialty was interceptions, as he had a lot of interceptions, and led the league in interceptions for 2 years, which is pretty impressive. So it seems like he was a good defensive back for the New York Giants, and I think that's a positive for the New York Random.
Another win, no steroids again.
Yes, sir, no steroids. Love it.
New York fact of the day. Woo!
All right, for the New York fact of the day, this fact is actually about the Mets and Yankees. There's been 5 managers in the history of the Mets franchise and Yankees franchise that have managed for both teams. If you guys can think of them, leave a comment below, pause the video, see if you guys can think of them, and I'm going to tell you guys the answer. It is Yogi Berra, Dallas Green, Casey Stengel, Joe Torre, and current Mets manager, Buck Showalter. Alright, that's it for the 3rd episode of the Rivals podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. We try to add a little bit more opinionated stuff and less of the facts. So let us know in the comments if you guys like this style more or you like the previous style we had for the first 2 podcasts. We really hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are on YouTube. Follow if you are on Spotify. And
make sure to follow our other socials. We have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a TikTok. So make sure you guys
follow those. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. See you guys.